All right, so I think we got it together this time. Turned my phone service off. Only the Wi-Fi is on. So I shouldn't be interrupted by any more phone calls. Maybe the dog gonna interrupt me. But I shouldn't be interrupted by any more phone calls. Hakeem say he's gonna be ready at 3 on the dot, so we got like a 2-minute countdown. So I'm hoping that we good to go. I think you wanna go outside. Prince?
Yeah.
You could put him outside for me? And it's a little hole.
Which one?
Both of them. It's a little hole where Zuko got up. I cover it up for me because they found a little new spot. See if you see any spots where they be trying to get out. They be trying to find new spots. But yeah. Speaking of the devil, here we go. Here we got questions, man. Yeah. Just you go ahead and request me because I don't really know how to request you. We're telling the followers that, I don't really know how to request you. So if you want, you can request me. And we gonna get it in, man. Because we trying to figure out these fairy tales, man. We trying to figure out if we should believe in them or not. You know? We're gonna figure out if they do us any justice or not. Let's get it crack on. I think I requested you. I think I accepted it. One King.
What's going on, bro, man?
What it is.
Let me fix that right there. You know, I ain't technologically savvy, so I'm a little young old nigga, so
we're gonna figure it out. Man.
Yeah.
So how
you doing, bro?
I'm good. For those, I'm gonna just jump in. I know people gonna jump in later on, but this is gonna be saved, so we just gonna jump right into it.
Okay.
This my homie. We throwback right here. You get what I'm saying? This is a brother who can. This is probably one of the only brothers who can get me close to even relating to this term called God. I will give you that. Okay. But I'm at the point now where I'm wondering if it's serving us any good, if it's serving us more good than bad, and by even confiding in this God fellow. And where I stand, I'm like, yo, I don't think so. So I'm at the point where I just want to know for once and for all if this God exists. And like I say, I'm coming with it today because I want it to be done. So I got it queued up already. I'm showing you the vibration that I'm coming on. You see what's in the back? I'm showing you the vibration I'm coming with today.
All right.
They know me, Myra. Everybody
I don't know him.
Watch where I'm going, huh? What's up? I say what's up?
Angry man.
Sit your ass down.
Okay.
I ain't got time for Richard Roundtree over there.
Okay. All right. Richard Round.
You don't know him.
Jim Kelly over there.
He knows me.
We don't know him. One more. I got one more for you, and we're gonna let you introduce yourself.
Angry man, what you doing? Man, sit your ass down.
So the moral of the story is Martin is God, and I'm angry man. I don't know him. And if we smell spookism, we're gonna be on sit your ass down.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But with that being said, you go ahead and introduce yourself, you feel me?
Okay. Well, it's your boy, Brother Royce, one time for your mind. What's good? For the sake of conversation, I wear many hats, but I guess for the sake of the conversation, I'm the resident metaphysicist. Okay. grew up in the whole Southern Baptist thing, but the Southern Baptist thing came after the big church, that $100 million church in Liberty City, the Yahweh Ben Yahweh Church. And we must have been doing something different than these churches was doing today, because the feds shut it down, arrested the leader, killed the leader, the people consecutively after that. And after the murder of William McDuffie, they burned down Liberty City. And now you have what you call today the Poke and Bean Projects. So we've been shaking shit for a long time, and we've been shaking it not from a Eurocentric Southern Baptist Christian church perspective, but we already know the Bible was written in Ethiopia. It was written by blacks. Ethiopia is the home of the great Haile Selassie. Shouts out to Bob Marley ancestors, all the ancestors. So we're coming with the original perspective of the scripture, not the perspective that the white man gave us. And I believe that's the reason why I'll be able to answer every single question today, because I know that it was written by us, not the white man. So like I said, I wear many hats, but that's the introduction we'll give for the sake of this conversation we're having today, for the context of this conversation we're having today.
Okay. And before I even ask you about the existence of this God, you said something. I want to ask you this. Can we, because you say not from the Eurocentric perspective.
Right.
But if we're reading this book in English, do we have the choice of not even, are we even able to not view it from a Eurocentric perspective? Because I find that hard to believe.
Actually, there is. The only version of the scripture that you can really read is the King James Version, even though they say, even though they say King James was, gay and all that, whatever. The reason I say the King James Version is because the King James Version comes with Hebrew concordance. So you're actually able to cross-reference the words in the King James Version with the original Hebrew, because that was the version that was translated over from the original Hebrew. So whether you argue the legitimacy of the concordance or not, it is the only version of the Bible that you're able to cross-reference into another language other than English. So for the sake of that question, I would say get the King James Version and get the concordance. And it's because Hebrew is a language that is based on verbs. English is a language that is based on nouns. So if you ask somebody in English, what is the heart? They'll say the organ that pumps the blood. That's it. If you ask Hebrew, what is the heart? They'll give you the metaphysics behind it. They'll give you what is love? Okay, better example, because love is something that can be on both sides. Heart is just a heart. But if you ask somebody in English, what is love? Oh, it's a chemical response from the heart that goes to the brain. All of this science stuff, this noun stuff. But if you ask somebody in Hebrew, what is love? They'll give you the actions that defines love. Love is doing this. Love is doing that. You get what I'm saying?
I don't know. I don't know if you're saying that there are no nouns or just very little, but they definitely have nouns. Because
very little, but the language is based on verbs. Everything is defined by action. Everything is defined by movement. You know what I'm saying? So
because one thing I know is that in English, that's why I say it's not a proper translation, because in English, there are very few times where we use the several different names of God, because there are some say 9, some say 30 different names in the Old Testament alone for God. But in English, we're even to the point where we put a capital letter on God as though it's a proper noun. If we understood what God is as a just strictly talking on verbiage, then we will understand that God is a noun and the many names of God is a proper noun. So that even within itself shows me how psychologically embedded it has become in our mind, this God fictition. You get what I'm saying? Because we're to the point where we're capitalizing it like the name. But then when you ask some, you say, what's the name of God? They say Jehovah, they say Yahweh, they say Adonai. It's like, okay, so why are you so stuck on God with this capital letter? You get what I'm saying? Because if we get into the different names of God, I think it'll give us a better perspective of what we're really talking about. But let me just ask you this though: Is there a God? Let's just start it all like that. Is there a God?
Well, let's hit every point. Let's make sure we cover every point. That was the point. Like I say, if you have a problem with the English language, cross-reference it with a concordance, and therefore you get another language by which you can get a deeper understanding. If you're reading King James and it's talking about if you believe in this doctrine, if you believe in this, if you believe in the message of Christ, okay, you will be quickened by the Spirit. Okay, what the hell is quicken? And then when you go to Hebrew, you have a whole entire page that's defining quicken. It's giving energy, giving vitality, giving revitalization. So in the defining, in these definitions, it will help you get a deeper context on the scriptures that go way beyond the English language. The other thing is the next point, keeping everything in order so we're not chasing the rabbit like I like to do. The next thing is God has I believe about 365 different nomenclatures, 365 different names. And there's actually thousands. But as I said before, what a lot of us don't know in this Western Eurocentric culture is that the Bible, the biblical text, is African in origin. So in Africa, every different tribe had a different nomenclature for God based on their relationship for God. So the farming tribe might call him something that relates to farming. The sheep tribe might call him the great shepherd.
That's big.
The people in the mountains might call him the great mountain god. That's where you get all the different names from. So a lot of the things don't make sense in Western culture. So I understand the confusion that comes about. But the confusion comes because you're trying to interpret an African document with a Western mind.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So what do you think the effects, and we're still going to get into it, that is there a God, but
yeah.
What do you think the effects on the human psyche when there are over 360 names, but people rely on, if you say anything other than God in this culture, it's blasphemous.
Right. The same effects that English language was created to have is divide and conquer. Period. When I took world religions class, which was a class that takes every religion, and yes, the word religion, takes every religion.
But no, good.
It takes every religion and puts every religion side by side, and it gives you a little lesson on an unbiased lesson on each religion.
You must have had a good
You'll
teacher.
see that.
My teacher wasn't. She wasn't unbiased.
He was
very biased.
I was just going to say that he was a Christian. So he was very quick to line up every lesson with Christianity, but because he was getting paid to do it, he had to first give that unbiased view first before he then compared it to his own religion. So definitely agreed on that. But when looking at it, is really all of them had the same message. All of them have the same message. And to me, the differentiation was what geographical location and what culture that specific part of the message fell to, but it pretty much all had the same message. So once you see people arguing about the name of God, or is it Allah, or is it Yahweh, the most ridiculous argument is Jesus and Yeshua, Yahweh and Jehovah, and they literally mean the same thing but two different languages. But the people who believe he's Jesus and the people who believe he's Yeshua, they argue and they fight each other, but they both mean the same thing. Jesus means Jehovah is salvation, and Yeshua means Yahweh is salvation. It's the same thing. So when you have a language where every word has 4 completely different definitions for every single word, that's why English is defined as a trickster's language. It's a language where you're able to use a lot of subtext. And the reason why it's so hard to understand God through the term God is because there's so much subtext that has been added.
I mean, ideologically, I can agree and say apples and, Yahshua, we said not apples and oranges, but potato, Yahshua, Jesus,
right.
Jehovah.
Right.
Ideologically, I can agree. But when you start understanding vibration and frequency and connecting with ancestors, then I feel it's very important to call on the same names your ancestor called on. And I remember I was watching a lecture and somebody broke it down like this. If you're in a group of people and somebody yell out, "Yo, Mark," you're not going to turn around.
Right.
So if especially since people believe, I guess it depends on which spiritual system we're talking about. But when you have people who believe that God was actually a physical person on this earth, then you better call the correct name, or else they're gonna be like, "Yo, who you talking to? You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So ideologically, like, you know,
sure.
when we talking about ideologies and parables, then okay, I get it. But if we're talking about spiritual connection, I think the correct terms are highly important.
Agree. I agree 100%. And we have to, you can get into one vein of, well, I want to go back to Africa and find out what specifically my tribe is, because you have some people that are Moors, you have some people that are Hebrews, you actually, you know, you have some people that was from the East and they were into.
Moor is not a spiritual.
Oh, okay, well, what I know, all I know is I know Hebrew. Okay, I know Hebrew, so I know that you are absolutely correct. Hebrews have a specific name that they call God. My personal belief is that Caribbeans, Cubans, Puerto Ricans, Haitians, Jamaicans, African Americans, even Venezuelans, okay, they're all different tribes of Hebrews, you know what I'm saying, who refer to God, you know, in that nomenclature, Yahweh. But until you're able to make that personal connection for yourself as to who you are and where you come from and claim that, I guess that's kind of where you get God from. But I agree wholly and completely. If you want to actually learn the manifestation of this thing and see this and see, I say this thing, but not in a disrespectful manner. You know, I have all respect for my belief system.
That thing is, to me, the best way to relate to it. You know,
in a non-disrespectful manner.
Yeah.
Never disrespect the ancestors. But that really takes you getting inside and understanding where you come from. And if you're defining yourself as an American, you don't have an attachment to any name of God.
Okay.
That's the problem.
Okay. So is there a God?
Yeah.
Okay. So is it outside? Like, is it up somewhere blessing people? Is it like picking who is blessed and who is cursed? And I say it because I don't know if you're going to tell me it's a he. You know, I confide that the black woman is God. We can dabble into that too. But I say it to be neutral. You get what I'm saying? So is it like up in the sky blessing people, choosing who is cursed and who is his anointed ones?
God is you. God is the black man. And that's been said so much that it's become cliche, but that's because it's being said by people who have never left the American bubble. Speaking as someone who has went to Africa.
This is God right here.
Brother man, what's good? That's God.
Okay.
That's God. That's, matter of fact, that's Jesus. You're God. You understand? That's Jesus right there. You understand? And speaking as somebody who has been to Africa and I saw the culture, and now I've been studying the Bible so long, but I'm like, it's not making sense to me. And when I went and I saw the culture, I say, damn, this is what it's supposed to look like. I get it. So you are God.
Okay. See, you're doing it again. You're doing it again.
What's up?
Because I was looking to beat somebody up, and I'm gonna call it buck dancing for now.
Yeah.
But I was looking to beat somebody up because I wanted the spookism, and you're not giving it to me. But I could say this. I could say this. So then, why call it God? Because are we saying he's the creator?
Yeah. Okay. Why call it God? Well, do you know who you are?
I mean, according to you, I guess I'm God.
But do you know who you are? Do you know who you are? If you don't know who you are, then I guess the best term you have for it is God until you better define who you are.
The best term? But we could dabble, asking me, we could dabble into it and we could get, to me, the beautiful part is the exploration. The quitting is it was God. To me, that's quitting. That's quitting.
Agreed.
You get what I'm saying? Like people, and to me, it's the laziness of the people. And I really feel like we're at a point where we should, like, kindergarten is over. You know, like we have to graduate to they call it the age of Aquarius, the age of information. Not saying get information for information's sake. But if you're truly passionate about something, because most people who believe in God, they're very passionate about it. So it's like explore it. Exploring it, figure out the intricacies, the mysteries of it, because it's a beautiful thing to me. Because when you say, do you know who I am? And putting me in the category of God, then I'm going to ask myself, okay, why would I be in the category of God? And my answer would be like, I was just talking to somebody who I was cutting his hair earlier. And I was telling him that, you know, I gave him the whole space inside the container not being separate from the space outside of the container, you know, or even we could say a drip of the ocean, a water drop of the ocean containing the same exact elements as the ocean itself. And that is how I connect with me being the God, you know? And I see you ain't going to spooky route today. I see you feel me? You said no spookism, and I see, you get what I'm saying?
I'm breaking it down very, very Albert Einstein. I hate to quote a white dude, but I ain't racist. I ain't unbiased. God can speak through anybody. The Creator can speak through anybody. Speaking to me, speaking on me. He said, if you can't explain something simply, then you don't understand it well enough. So I understand that in conversations where people are actually willing to sit down and even talk about the idea of God, because people run away from these conversations. They sprint, both flat, same boat, out of there. You know what I'm saying? So understanding that if everyone is God and all of these gods agree to sit down and listen to me and ask me questions, you know what I'm saying? Then I have to explain it in the way by which everybody can get it. And that when I get off this live and you go into your secret place and you go into your meditation space, you can continue to break it down after I'm gone. So the thing with the most beautiful thing about the journey is God is the creator in itself is infinite. Let's give you some of that spookism, but not too much. But the creator is infinite. The creator is an ocean. So there is no way for you to understand something that is infinite. But the lens by which you understand the infinite is understanding yourself. So people have questions. How can God be, just some of the questions I get on a day-to-day basis for years. How could God be God if he gets angry? I said,
I'm about to get into that.
Yeah, don't you get angry? Well, God said love is jealousy. That don't make no sense, because why would a God get jealous? You don't get jealous over what you love? And the saddest answer I hear, but understanding that they don't get it, is, nah, brother, this ain't about me. We talking about God. And it's like, you still don't get it.
Okay. You're making me mad right now, man. I wanted to tell you, man, sit your ass down. I ain't get a chance to say it yet.
I'm Martin. It's my show. I'm Martin. What's up? What's up?
They know me.
What's up?
They know me. All right, so let's get deep, man. Let's get deep. Okay. So let me ask you, bro. Why did God create the devil? What was the point behind that?
Okay. We live in a culture where we have been indoctrinated to think like the white man. Okay. And if you read the book, Yoruga, this is a good book. It's right here.
The one with the little ugly dude on the cover?
Yeah.
Yoruga. Yeah.
Right here. Okay. Referred by Dr. A.K. Dr. A.K. Okay. If you read that book, it says that the creation of all civilizations came from an ideology or idea. And this is a non-spiritual book, so if it aligns with whatever the Bible says, it's purely coincidence, or no such thing as coincidence, but the Creator speaks through all, whether it's conscious of the Creator or not. So, but a non-Christian, non-religious book, okay, Arthur. And the creation of civilizations comes from an idea. So the idea that created the Eurocentric civilization is the idea of control. I have to control it all. Control. So now we have been under that civilization so long that now we have come under this principality of control. Okay? So because we've come under this this principality of control in a way that has become our God. And the reason why it is so many questions is because we have taken God out of nature and we've tried to understand him by putting him on a table and dissecting him like a frog. And the reason why we do those things.
The way, I'm going to say the way, but it's plain in written in words, but I'm going to say the way it's presented, you have no choice but to do so. Like when you read a scripture in which a God does very irrational things, you have no choice but to dissect, like, yo, why? Like you can't give me free will and the ability to ask why, and then tell me that you put a tree in a garden that people wasn't supposed to eat from, and me not come to a conclusion of saying, okay, but why? Even if you're afraid to say it, just okay, but why? Like, why did you not put the tree there? Like, just put all the trees that we could eat, you know? Like, if a child, I gave this analogy earlier. When you have a child in a crib, you only put the things in the crib that would not harm the child. So once I read that there was a tree in the garden, it's like, yo, I would expect a human to know better. Why didn't God?
But when you take God out of nature, and remember, our argument is God something within us, or is God something abstract and above us? But even when we come to the disagreement that God is not abstract and above us and outside of us, we still look at him in that manner. I have to, because that's the way the people look at it. But who are the people programmed by? Huh? Who are the people programmed by? The same people that taught you that God was outside of you.
That's for you to answer, bro. I just see the psychological effects of people who believe that there's a benevolent God in the sky, who is blessing and cursing certain individuals. And I'm just looking at the symptoms. I want to eradicate the term completely, but as long as we're going to use this term, I'm dealing with the symptoms of what's going on. Like, yo, okay, I see the snotty nose. What caused the snotty nose? You get what I'm saying? So when I speak to people who look at it, I may be able to rationalize in my mind what you mean, but not everyone is coming to those conclusions. And I don't think, to me, it's better to throw the word away than to try to okay, well, if you're gonna use this word, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's trying to, sometimes it's better if you got a fucked up car. Sometimes it's just better to junk it and get a new one than to continue. I'm trying to fix it, and okay, well, let me put, if I get a new carburetor and a new tram, like, yo, bro, all that money you putting into the car, you could have bought a new one a long time ago. So I want to throw the word away.
All right. So here's one thing we're going to throw away. One thing we're going to throw away is that God is outside of anything. God is in the conversations we have with each other. God is in the conversations we have with our children. God is in our relationships. God is in life. In any idea, if we're talking about any principle of taking God outside of anything, we throwing away the whole car. We're not taking God outside of nothing. We analyzing God the way the Africans analyze God, by looking at nature. Okay? So if we analyzing God by looking at nature, you can have children, but you give your children the choice to make up their own minds. You teach them, you show them, and you can pray that when your children get older, they make the right decisions. But all of your children have free will to make up their own decisions. And why? Why put the tree of knowledge in the garden if you know they're going to eat from it? You have a stove in your house, right?
Say it again.
You have a stove in your house, right?
Yeah.
This came from a conversation I had with my homegirl. Very great conversation. I said, okay, you need that stove in your house so that you can cook for your family, so that you can feed your family, so that you can take care of your family, right? So you tell your child, do not touch this stove. This stove is hot, okay? Now, my homegirl comes from the ideology that God must be separated and isolated and studied in his own bubble. So she said, well, why would God give us the option to sin? Why put the sin there and give us the option to sin if you know that if we do it, we're going to die? I say, so you're going to take the stove out of the house because it might burn your hand? You need the stove to prepare your...
You're not going to put it in the crib.
Not in the crib. But allegory. The allegory of Adam was that he was made a 30-year-old man. So that allegory is saying that if God gives us everything now, explaining the allegory, okay? If God gives us everything now, we haven't went through a process, which is being a newborn, being a 1-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 3-year-old, growing up. So if we don't go through a process to get that which we are worthy of and that which we deserve, we won't be able to handle it. That is the allegory. So Adam was made as a full-grown man. Okay, bow. You are my children, for the sake of explaining the allegory. You are my children. Here's everything you will ever need, abundance, everything, all of that. But he didn't go through a process. So God is not, so back to the example, God is not gonna, or you're not gonna take the stove out of your house because the baby is gonna burn his hand on it. Because, okay, you take the stove out of the house. Let's say, I say, okay, let me humor you. You take the stove out of the house because why would I have anything in the house that would give the people a chance to burn their hands? But now how do you eat? You got to go to a restaurant and get them to cook it for you. You got to get a microwave and depend on their technology to cook it for you. Now you're a slave. If that person don't feel like cooking, or if that person want to throw all their money away so they don't got the money to bring the food to the restaurant to cook for you, now you have become a slave. And why have you become a slave? Because you have no discipline. I need that stove for what I need the stove for. I need that stove to take care of my family, and whatever he needs it for, that's not my argument. But that stove has a purpose to be in this house, whatever it may be. I may not understand that as a child. But if my father, my parent tells me don't touch the stove, don't touch the damn stove. And if you touch the stove, far be it from me as a father to protect you from the consequences of your actions, because how will you learn? I will guide you through it. I'll come to visit you in jail. I'll make sure you keep money on your books. And I give you that word every single day. You understand? But I understand that going to jail and that experience is going to teach you discipline. And it's going to, simple as that. I ain't here to preach, but you get where I'm going.
I do. I can beat that one a little bit more, but I don't think it's necessary, because I do. But what I tell you? Okay. All right. You made a statement earlier from Albert Einstein when you said something about the simplest. Say it again.
If you can't explain something simply, then you don't understand it enough. For not in direct words, but paraphrase.
Yeah, okay. But you also said that the Afrocentric way of viewing God was viewing nature, and mind you, there are many aspects. There are many different aspects of nature. So,
agreed.
To me, prior to you saying the thing about nature, I was gonna say, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Simple. Simple is as simple does. You got to ask, what's simple to you? What's simple to you? You get what I'm saying? And I got more faith in my people to understand what seems to be complex. As a matter of fact, what was simple to us, I'm gonna say it for because I don't like the black word, but I'm gonna say it for context purposes. What was simple to black folks was complex to the rest of the world. So that's why I want to get out of that. But once we start looking at God in the terms of nature, it gets very complex, bro. Because guess what? Not when we think nature, we think the water and the trees and the breeze. But just like how you say, if God is nature and man is God, then the different aspects of our psychology is also nature. So we have discipline, we have concentration, we have the different aspects of psychology. You know what I'm saying? The different ways that a person's temperament can be manipulated. All of these things gonna fall into that category. So what is simple? Because that's gonna get complex. At least
so
the way it sounds like you're saying. It sounds like that's complex.
Yes, it is. Very complex. And the only way you can understand it is that you are the lens by which you understand the Creator. And that is how I learned to understand the Creator. The more I understood myself, the more I understood this complex subject, because there's a million billion different examples you can give, but your life is very specific. So everything you have been through in your life and will go through until the day that you ascend is made to point you to the questions you need to ask to understand your relation to the Creator as a relation of one who has their own personal name for him. We said earlier, to build that relation is you understanding yourself based on the questions that your life has led you to ask in order to understand that self. So that's what directs you through the millions and billions of questions you can ask to understand this thing, which is really infinite. And this is backed biblically. So if anybody be like, oh, you just going off the top of your head, I got scriptures for everything I say.
The scriptures leave more questions than answers. So I would rather you go off the top of your head. That's just me. That's just me.
But it's back. It's back. So whether we going from, I don't know, I don't use the word secular. I don't use words that I don't have a full understanding of. But whether we going from religious or whether we going from metaphysical, I can back it up both ways.
Yeah, because ain't no such thing as secular.
Yeah.
A lot of people, when they hear my perspective, they feel as though they like, I literally can feel them searching for the category to put me in, and the closest one is atheist. So I say the difference between me and atheists is atheists feel like this was a happenstance. It was just random. You get what I'm saying? They feel like our existence was a matter of the correct conditions just so happened to being available in order for life to exist. And I say I am far more spiritual than those that you would call atheists. You know, if it feels comfortable, because I don't believe in no spook in the sky. If you feel comfortable putting me in that category, then that's cool. But by the end of the conversation, you're gonna see that I am, in my view, humbly speaking, superior, a lot more spiritually inclined than those you would call atheists. You know? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So like I say, you're doing it. So I'm just for conversations. For conversation's sake, I want you to do a little pushback, you know, because I heard that you got a beef with my perception of God. So I'm gonna allow you to do a little pushback because I can relate. I'm like I tell most people, I'm not a religion basher, and I'm not a God basher, but and mind you, I don't go looking for, because I feel like you're when you shake the foundation that someone stands on, it's like the responsibility that you have for that person now is immense. You get what I'm saying? That's why I don't really go on other people's pages. I allow them to come over here and get shaken up. You got to come over here. Like somebody told me, like they told me to go on somebody, like it was a Hebrew Israelite who was doing a live, and they was like, yeah, ask him them questions that you was asking me. I say, no, you ask him and tell me what he says. You get what I'm saying? You'll never get to him. You'll never get to him. It's 1,000 walls of religion. You'll never reach him. Okay. You'll be in the Bible for 2 days, and you're like, dang, but I just asked you one question. I just asked you one question, brother. You will never reach him. But yeah, like I say, I clearly see that you do not have a spook in the sky. So that makes it hard for me to beat up on your argument. I keep it G. I keep it real. But if you got some pushback, like, okay, the black woman is God. In my eyes. So if you got some pushback, the platform is yours. If you have pushback on that. Well, not necessarily pushback, I guess. I don't know. I don't use the terms. I'm the right brain guy. But I don't want the black woman is God. All respect to the black queens. We're gonna get to that. I don't want the black woman is God perspective to take away from the fact that the black man is God too. And not speaking for me, speaking for my sons. Okay. My studies come from the Bible. You said this Jesus, okay, all right? That's Jesus. That's God right there. See, I don't know, his shirt might be backwards. You see what his shirt say? Hold your shirt up. Let me see. Yeah. Make love. So make love. Yeah. Right. Make love, not war. Yeah. That's right. And
The black man is God as well. And why do I say that? Why do I make that assertion? Little spookism. The Bible says in the end days, there will be a harlot riding on the back of a dragon. And I said, okay, women power, yeah, women control. But it says in her glass will be the blood of kings. And I said, oh. And the Bible says she will call herself God. So the black man being God assures that the black woman who is God always has a gatekeeper.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that. Somebody say, I don't know if you're asking me or you, but somebody say define God. If you're asking him, I don't know if you're late, but he kind of defined it already. So I don't know if you're asking him or me. But you could let me know. Let me know.
I guess for the sake of that's deep. That's deep. If you asking Jay, ask Jay. If you asking me, ask me. But when the man says that the black woman is God in order to get away from his own responsibility as God, then that puts the black woman at the helm of a ship. She should not be at the helm at. Black woman is God. She is the God of incubation, cultivation, nurturing, building. My children need that. My black woman, who is God, who is my most precious resource, does not need to be on the front line because she is God. Because I'm her God. And the power of the black woman being God, the power of the black woman is that the black man who is God can kneel to that woman and say, I honor you. If a weak man is kneeling to a woman and saying, I honor you, that means nothing. And I got it. If a weak man who is not taking care of his responsibilities, who is not doing what he's supposed to do as a man, who has no discipline, no focus, no dedication, no commitment, kneels to a woman and say, black woman, you is God, that's flattery. It means nothing. But if a black man who understands his power as God with authority and dominion over the planet Earth kneels to that black woman and say, you are God.
But mind you, I'm the one presenting it.
Agree.
So you're gonna have to. I would rather you, instead of making it general, you know, because like I came at you, because I want to know where you stand with this fairy tale, you know. So don't make it so general, because I ain't even gonna say a lot. I would say close to 50% of what you said I agree. So, I mean, are you done, or do you have a question? I just cut you off. I ain't mean to do that.
Nah, that's just what I want us to be wary of. The black woman is God, but the black woman does not lead.
When
When does she not lead?
This is the Eve effect.
Yeah.
This is the Eve effect. This is why it's time to put her back in her rightful position, because this is the Eve effect. As a matter of fact, the harlot on the back, or whatever what you were saying, you weren't describing the black woman as God. You're describing the feminist movement, and they are not synonymous. They are not synonymous. The Eve effect. When you tell a civilization of people that, yo, man sinned because woman sinned, and if you would have never, it's the Bible doesn't say if you would have never done it, but once you understand psychology, then you understand that its inverse implication is, if you would have never did it, we would have been in paradise. That
agree.
Subconsciously
Not
tells
agree, but
women, dang, I should be more like men. If we were more like men, then we wouldn't be in this situation. So that's why I say that's the Eve effect. That's the Eve effect. When I say the black woman is God, I'm speaking of woman in her purest femininity. And that is not a person on any front line.
Agreed.
On any front line. Ain't no front line. As a matter of fact, God to the people is master to the, we can say slave or servant or subjects. But when you have a master subject relationship, the subjects are always on the front line. The pawns on a chessboard are always out front. So we're not talking about putting a woman on the front line. We're talking about something that is the most cherished in a society, and that is our woman. And we should perceive her as God. Now, I'm not opposed. I was in a conversation with somebody on Instagram in the comments. I'm not opposed to the co-God relationship that we share, because I also deem myself as God. But when I call a woman pretty, I don't also have to say I look good as well too. I could just leave it at that. You get what I'm saying? When I give somebody reverence, I'm not expecting reverence back. So me being on the opposite side of the spectrum, I can acknowledge that pole as God. I don't need it to, you know, if I'm doing my duty, as a matter of fact, then it will be reciprocated. You get what I'm saying? So me being on this end of the spectrum, and then I can also get into you know, just wisdom based off of experience. Like, mind you, it may not sound like it, but I'm a person who holds the Bible to somewhat, maybe not as high as you, but I hold it to a pretty high esteem. So a lot of those, God is a loving God, cherishing God. You know, there's even terms in the Bible that refer to, even in Islam, when we find out that God has a bosom and is holding man in his bosom, then we also got vengeful, you know what I'm saying, jealous. Who has these characteristics? Who has these characteristics other than the black woman? When I hear things like in the beginning was void, you know, if I'm thinking of anatomy, I think of a dark vagina. I don't mean to get too raunchy, bro. I don't mean to, you big, you old enough. But when I think of the void and the coming to light, I think of a baby emerging out of that dark vagina. And, you know, nowadays it's halogen lights, you know, but it used to be sunlight, you know, or moonlight, when the first light that a child sees. You know what I'm saying? So the darkness coming to light, I think of a woman giving birth. You know, I think of a woman giving birth. So it's like, these are the hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, cool. I know when people call me, you can't really hear me. But even when I think of among on the face, or what is saying in the Bible, on the face of the waters.
Darkness was on the darkness was on the face of the waters. The Spirit of God hovered,
above the face of the waters. I think of a woman giving birth and her water breaks. You know, like all of these things be like, damn, bro. I think they was really talking about the woman being God. You know? Yeah, go ahead. You good. You get what I'm saying? So, but back to your point. I mean, if a man, it's one thing in verbiage to say the black woman is God, but if a man really feels as that his woman is God, then he automatically, just like in spirituality, like when you believe in God, you automatically put yourself in a position of service. You know, you feel like you have certain duties. You got to do certain, whatever religion you in, you got to do certain amount of prayers. You got to pray in a certain direction. You get what I'm saying? You got to make sure that you're in the house of the Lord every week at this time. You know, like you feel like you have certain duties and responsibilities. So I don't even think a weak man can believe that the black woman is God. I don't think he has the ability to, because you automatically going to put yourself in a position of service. You know? Yes.
And I think where we really see, because we just said that God is everything. God is the child. God is the woman. God is the man. I think where we really see where God is the man, and what aspects this umbrella of God is the man is, and how he raises us. Okay, that was the hard thing for my homegirl to understand. She was like, you know, why does he just let us go through it? Like, why doesn't he just save us when we mess up? Every time we mess up, how come he just doesn't come and save us? And I'm like, if God were only a woman, maybe he would do that. But in the aspect that God is a man, in the aspect that they call him Father, which means they rely on this aspect of God for something. A father got to let you go through it. A father has to let you learn. A father has to let you figure things out. Now, I'm always going to protect you,
Yeah, he
but
would
I'm
walk
not
out
going
when
to
you
save
said that,
your
man.
choice. Yeah.
Hey,
We
hold on.
got to record it.
He coming back. Hold on.
Yeah.
Say that one more time. Don't forget what you say that one more time. What you saying, Father, do?
Okay. The importance of my argument is that in some aspects, God is a woman. God is an umbrella term, but in aspects where God is a man and how he is going to raise us in life. In life, God is not going to save you from everything. The argument, not the argument, but the discussion I got in with my homegirl was where she was like, how come God let us go through stuff? Why God see us going through all this suffering and going through everything you see on the news? How come God don't just come down and keep saving us, keep saving us, and keep saving us? And I told her, I said, if God were only a woman, then maybe he would do that. But from the aspect of God also being a father, umbrella term, God is a child, God is the mother, God is the father, and all of these things, the character and nature of the creation is revealed. And God being a man, we will never learn if he don't let us go through things. We'll never learn if he don't let us see the results of our mistakes. Now, he'll always guide us through it. He'll always be there to give us wisdom. It says he giveth wisdom to all those who ask, and he upbraideth not. Upbraideth not mean he won't even cuss you out if you come to him and ask him for wisdom. As much wisdom as you come and ask him for, he will give it to you. But he will not stop the consequences of your actions because he's raising you. He is parenting you. He is raising you like a father would raise you. As you learn, as you go through these experiences, you will learn how to grow and make better decisions. And then you will be able to handle the responsibilities that will in turn gives you. So if you hear people say, why does God love one group of people, but God doesn't love another group of people? God loves the people that grow and learn and understand and make changes. But those who are stuck in their ways and don't want to learn and, oh God, I want to keep making the mistakes, but I want you to come keep saving me. God doesn't hold those people in high esteem. He holds the people in highest esteem who learn from their
They go
mistakes.
another
And
category. We got to put it in
yeah,
boxes. We got to put it in boxes, man. Whatever
he
you want to call it.
whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to call it, but the people that this life, this creation, the people that he holds in highest esteem is the ones who understand, even though there is a God in the sky, I am still responsible for my choices and the decisions I make. Those are the people who will inherit the new world.
Okay. So I don't know if we're down to 2. We had a few more. If anybody want to jump in, because I'm at the point where I'm throwing the term in the garbage, but a person, if they're not coming like this, they're gonna get their feelings hurt, man. When it comes to me, it's just too detrimental. Our perspective of it is too detrimental to the psyche, if you ask me.
We need to go deeper. We need to go a lot deeper than just God, 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 God. You got a brother in the comment who said pantheism. If he was on, if you go back to the beginning of the broadcast, we'll see that all things reveal the nature of God. So if you say pantheism, then that means if you believe that that is another belief system, then there's thousands and millions of gods. Then because everything in nature reveals the nature of God. So it's not pantheism. We throwing that term God garbage based on your life. That will determine what God is to you.
Or even some people throw certain beliefs like this as animism, because I said that there's nothing outside everything. Yeah, like I was speaking earlier, I was having a good conversation prior. I was kind of prepping myself, so I was having a good conversation with a brother earlier, and I was telling him that there's no thing that is not like we view things. I remember me and you was talking, and I was saying we have this whole idea of there's a spiritual aspect of your life and a secular. But when you have a true understanding of what this is we're in, there's nothing outside of, there's no such thing as secular. That's a term that they came up with to confuse the mind. Like every action, every deed is imprinted, as some would say, in the Akashic records. You get what I'm saying? So I was telling him that even a rock, like people perceive the rock as a thing that is not alive. But in order for a thing to be a thing, the molecules in it must be moving.
Must vibrate, yeah.
It must vibrate. It might be vibrating on a very low, slow, dense vibration, but it vibrated. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
And as a matter of fact, that to me, and as you say, raise, like to me, the whole resurrection analogy is the speeding up of your vibrations. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The what you said, quickening. I was gonna come for that term too, but I like.
Oh
it.
yeah.
But I was gonna
That's
say,
my favorite word.
I was gonna say earlier, like we have to find out if the original word meant quickening, or you know what I'm saying. Like it's all that's why I'm like, yo, we can't take that book too seriously. But I get what you said though.
I was telling for those who have that same question, get the KJV and get a concordance. Read the King James with a concordance, and it will give you the meaning of the word outside of the English language. It will give you the meaning of the word in the original Hebrew language.
That's what I was going to say. The meaning of the word is that's what I was going to say. The meaning of the word is still the word that's being used, but you mean the meaning of the word that was in the original text.
Yeah,
okay,
false reference.
Okay. Cool.
Concordance. Everybody watching, concordance.
Cool. But like on a spiritual, metaphysical, a quantum level, the speeding up of energy and molecules brings you to a gaseous state. Like anything can be heated up to the point where it becomes liquid, and then even further, we might have access on. Like man has probably not come up with that immense form of heat. Like just speaking on an alchemical level, like there's certain things.
You saying on the I know you're trying to explain it away, but that's in the Bible as well, so I understand everything you're saying.
Yeah, we haven't come up with the heat that is that hot to melt certain physical items. You know what I'm saying? So same thing on a quote unquote spiritual level. Like sometimes you got to break past certain barriers, and I feel like you do them psychologically. That's why even brought me to, and it's funny because a lot of I guess it's because that I understand that Masonry came from out of Egypt. Why I feel like I've been encountering so many connections between Masonry and our truth. You get what I'm saying? But when you said raised earlier, that I was just thinking because they when you go from entered apprentice, they say you've been raised to the sublime degree of Master Mason. But it's all like, remember now in not just Masonry, but all fraternal orders, sororities, secret societies, you go through initiations. I don't know what their initiations entail, but I know the fact that the initiate also doesn't know. It takes you to a different place psychologically. And that's when you get to that heat that's hotter than the hot that man knows. And that's when you begin to quicken and you become raised. You get what I'm saying? So it's like when you said quicken, I was like, okay, I don't know if that's what you say. Go to the concordance. So, but I'm like, I don't know if that's what they say in the original text. But I'm with that. Though. I'm with that. Yeah.
It's one thing that the Christ in the Bible says. He says, I don't baptize with water. The ones before me baptized with water. He said, I baptize with spirit and fire. So it's like he's spirit and fire. He's raising your vibration. And you know, when something turns into gas, it levitates up.
Okay, there.
So when he resurrected, and I don't use quotation marks, that's for y'all, I know what it means. But when he resurrected, it says he levitated off of the mountain. Now you like, oh, that's, you know, not you, but I'm saying in general, oh, that's fairy tales and stuff. His vibration got so high, he went into a different state. They say that fifth dimension is not a physical plane, it's a different being, a different plane of existence. So beings in the fifth dimension are not solid, they may be in a different state of, which is how they can coexist simultaneously in the 3D world without being seen. Because you can't see gas, but gas is still here.
Yes, sir.
So all of these things are there.
Yes, sir.
And the thing with the most this is what I want to assert too, when we objectify something and subject something, the civilization that did the most objectifying, which they did it for the method of control, they wanted to control it because there is a sort of answer key when you take a test. Okay, the algorithms that put this universe together, the algorithms that shape this creation, they have been in existence long before us. So we are creators, as in drops being a part of the ocean, but we are not the creator. So when you put something in nature and you have a question about it, because that thing is in its context, because that thing is in its original place, you're able to cross-reference it with other things in nature in order to get the true algorithm of that thing. But we live in a culture that objectifies something. So when you take something out of its nature, you take it away from the answer key, you take it out of where it originally is, you can make the answers whatever you want those answers to be, because there's nothing to cross-reference it with. And when someone tries to cross-reference it with something else, most likely it'll be where that thing is from, whether it's conscious or unconscious. But because it relates, you'll try to cross-reference it with something else. They'll say, we don't believe in that. That's not our belief system. That's not how we think. That's secular. That doesn't relate to us. This is what we all agree that this thing is. So this is what it is. Even if it does contradict everything else around it, this is what we believe it to be, so this is what we're going to call it.
I see you doing the
biggest detriment to our people. That's what I'm saying. Because it's like, well, you're saying this, but when this condition occurs in nature, something completely opposite happens. Oh, no, we don't believe in that. This is what we agreed it's going to be. It's like, well, it's contradicting. Well, we don't believe in that. Believing in God and objectifying God in that manner is one of the greatest detriments to our people.
I think one of the say that again. Say that one more time. Believing in God and what?
Believing, not objectifying God in that manner, objectifying the concept of God, like in a manner of trying to understand it. Objectifying your analysis of God in that manner is one of the greatest detriments of our people. Okay.
And I was
because
believing,
you're taking something that's infinite and you don't have nothing. You're just trying to figure it out with your own fragment of a mind. So now they can tell you a boy is a girl is a boy, up is down, down is up. And who's your verification? Google, YouTube, Scientology. They want us in that vacuum so that we never find the truth. And if we're talking about connecting to God from a non-religious perspective, it's connecting to the algorithms and the mathematics that put this universe together. Now that just so happens to be an intellect. But
I think believing and not knowing is one of our biggest detriments, or believing that we don't have the ability to know, so we settle for believing. Because and mind you said something earlier that we can't, something like we can't know everything, something like that. And I beg to differ. I think there's a difference between not having the ability to know a thing, or not having there's no way possible of having the time to know everything. You know, because man is but a vessel. We know that it's but a blink of an eye, and the body is gone. But the ability to tap in, that's why collectively, even when we talk about consciousness, even on a collective level, man is most definitely God. You know, like there is a man, or there was a man who once existed who knows what you think is unknowable. It might be one question, one aspect of a thing that you'd be like, man, there's no way we can know this. There's a man right now, or there's a man that was who did. But because, and this is the whole space in the bottle separate from the space outside the bottle thing, because you are in your vessel and you feel like you don't have enough time, or nah, bro, like you are not the end all be all, bro. Like it doesn't live and die with you, you know? It's like a child who's getting ready to take a test, and they waited to the last minute, you know? Like, yeah, you probably not gonna be able, you're not gonna have enough time to finish studying, but don't say that there's no way I can know all of this. No, you just waited to the last minute. It's too late now, you know? So the body just has but so much time, you know? But all things are accessible. And I remember you made a statement earlier about having like knowledge for the sake of knowledge or something like that. And I agree with that. There's a lot of that going on, especially in the quote unquote conscious community. It's knowledge for the sake of knowledge, but I wouldn't use that. And I'm not saying that you were, but I'm just saying I wouldn't use that to say that like we shouldn't know, or yeah, I wouldn't use that to justify not even attempting to know, or because there may be like there's a spark in everybody to figure out something that somebody else doesn't want to know. So it's like you point at them and say that's useless, but you have a desire to figure these things out. That's your journey. That's your journey. You get what I'm saying? So because that person doesn't see value in your journey, it's like, oh well, he said that you don't need to understand metaphysics because where you gonna use it in the real life? We'll never know where we're gonna use it in real life if you don't figure it out and present it to the world. You get what I'm saying? Like we'll never know. We'll never know what was the purpose of studying this one aspect of life. So I don't want to use the God term for us to just settle. That's my beef with it. You know what I'm saying? But like I say, the energy, the spirit, the vibration that you coming at it with, like I'm gonna hold everybody to. That's why I'm gonna leave this live. I'm gonna save this live, bro, because when I start, I'm done with the God conversation, generally speaking. But when somebody come at me with it and I jump down their throat, they're gonna know this is the only type of God conversation I allow in my vicinity. Everything else is getting chopped down because it's just it's folly. It's foolish. Yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna give you the opportunity to go ahead and close out. Cause we passed the hour mark, so I don't know if they're gonna chop me off or anything like that.
Yeah, it'll chop off in a minute if we pass the hour. Yeah. But yo, thank y'all for tuning in, man. These conversations go down all the time. If y'all want more of these conversations, we just so happen to be two vessels by which the Creator uses to speak to His creation. So if you have a demand for these kind of conversations, we'll create the platform, and by your command, by your demand, we shall supply. So comment below, talk to the boy Jay. We'll come up with something. We came up with a lot of ideas, the Left Brain, Right Brain show. I was thinking about barbershop sessions where every session I'm getting a haircut and we just on live or something. But if y'all don't want it, we got stuff to do. We got other things to take care of. My man got kids. I got stuff to do. But if you want it, we will create the platform where we can go deeper into this subject matter and many other subject matters as well. Critical thinking is important, and we need to restore critical thinking in our community.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm with that. Let's say, tell them peace, Mish. We out of here, man. Tell them peace.
Bye.
Peace out.
Peace out.
All right, bless.
We out. Man. Yeah.